Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Sunday prep day. I have another short prep video for you guys today because Thanksgiving's coming next week. So we just have a couple days to deal with early in the week. So if you want to see how I prep breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for my husband and I, then stay with me. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Christy and I am planning us healthy. We are going to get started. It is actually 7:30 in the morning and I'm going to start on lunch because this has to go in the crock pot for 6 hours and I don't want it to be like last week where I have to wait for the crock pot and then by that time it's already getting dark out, and then you guys, if you saw me last week, you saw my lighting in my kitchen is horrible at night. So I want to make sure that I have this done. So if I put it on now, I should be good. So I have about 2 pounds of chicken here and I just went through and just kind of blotted them dry. The next thing I'm going to do is season them. I actually am all out of adobo seasoning, so I kind of did my own. But normally when I make this, I do 1 teaspoon of adobo, a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of garlic powder. Since I didn't have adobo, I just threw a couple onion powder and a few other spices in here. So then just sprinkle that over the top of the chicken. And you want to get both sides. Okay, and then I still have a little bit left, so I'll save that for when I put it in the crock pot. Okay, so now we're going to set these aside. And the next thing I'm going to do is grab my crock pot. I've lined my crock pot with a liner and I've sprayed it with olive oil spray. If you are not familiar with crock pot liners, these are what they are. Reynolds Kitchen slow cooker liners, and they are so great because they make cleanup so easy. Just pull the bag out. I mean, you still have to wash your crock pot, but not nearly as much as you normally would. Okay, so I have 2 cans of black beans and 1 can of corn in here. I actually use the golden white corn, but you can use any corn. So I've drained those, rinsed them, and now I'm just going to pour them in the bottom. The next thing I'm going to pour in is a can of diced tomatoes. I'm actually using fire roasted diced tomatoes. You guys know I like a little bit of spice in my food, but you can use whatever diced tomatoes you want. This recipe is, I adapted it from Skinny Taste, and I don't believe she puts tomatoes in hers. So that's a preference. If you don't want tomatoes in there, you definitely don't have to put it in there. So then just mix that up. The next thing we're going to do is just lay the chicken right over top. Now, you can actually cube your chicken or you can shred it when it's done. We actually like it just the way it is. So that's why I have 6 of these. I'll put 1 in each lunch. If you're new to my channel, I'm making 6 portions. I do 3 for me and 3 for my husband. And these are going to come out to 2 points for blue and purple and 7 points for green. All right, just kind of nestle those over top. Then I'm going to take the rest of my seasonings and just put that over. The last thing you want is about 2 cups of salsa. I've actually used 1 cup before. If you don't want so much sodium, you definitely could cut down on the salsa, because if you look at the nutrition facts on this, this is pretty high in sodium. So that is it. Now all we do is put the top on it and put it in the slow cooker on low for 6 hours. And then for the last 5 minutes, I'll top it with cheese. Actually, you know what? Since I'm going to be doing this into 6 individual containers for lunch, I'm going to wait and I'm going to put the cheese on in each container. And I won't melt that on there for the last 5 minutes. But if you were going to eat this, if you were making this to eat it now, then the last 5 minutes you just put your cheese on there and then it'll be done. All right, so that is done, and then now I will come back to you in just a bit, and we will start on breakfast. Okay, so now we are going to make the French toast casserole. So the first thing we want to do with this one is take a 13 by 9 glass pan. Actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be glass. 13 by 9 baking dish, and spray it with olive oil spray. So this recipe is actually a pound dropper recipe, and I was just reading it, and you can actually prepare this the night before and then put it in the fridge overnight. It does say to put it in the fridge for at least 30 minutes, so I am going to do that. I'm just going to do the 30 minutes. I could have done it last night, but I wanted to walk you through and show you the way that we do this. So the first thing you want is 12 slices of bread, and you want to get 1 point bread. I am using the Sara Lee 45 calorie whole wheat bread. That's actually the bread that she uses in her recipe, but I'm sure any 1 point bread would work. So 12 slices, and then just cut it into cubes. Okay, then just put those in the bottom of the pan, or the bottom of your baking dish. So the next thing we are going to do is take a bowl, and we're going to add the other stuff. And I actually have the recipe here because I've not made this before, so you're going to see me looking at that some, because I can't, this is not one of mine, so I don't know the ingredients right off the top of my head. We're going to put in 2 cups of unsweetened almond milk. I am actually using unsweetened cashew milk. It's just a preference. And then we want half a cup of pumpkin puree. I'm just using the Libby's 100% pumpkin. And the next thing we want is 8 eggs. And I just want to say, because in case some of you don't watch this all the way through, I want to say if I don't see, or I won't have another video out before Thanksgiving. I may put a video out on Thanksgiving. Thursday morning is weigh-in, so I usually film my weigh-in video, but with it being Thanksgiving, I'm just not sure when I'll actually get that up. I don't know, I may turn the weigh-in into kind of like a vlog. We'll see, Thanksgiving vlog. But if I don't, I just want to tell you all, this will be the last video that you watch of mine. By the time you watch my next video, it will be after Thanksgiving. So I just want to tell you all that I hope you have a wonderful time with your families, and be thankful. I am so thankful for so much in my life, and I am really thankful this year to have all of you. You guys have impacted me more than you know. Some of your comments really touch my heart, and this is going to be a real raw video. I just love helping people, and I'm thankful that that I'm changing some of your lives. It really means a lot to me, and you guys are changing mine. So, thank you. All right. Whew. All right, had to compose myself. So I just want to say thank you. This year for Thanksgiving, I have my family, I have my friends, as I always had, but this year is a little bit different because I have all of you. And I am so truly thankful for each and every one of you. You all have impacted my life more than you can even imagine. The comments, the new friends that I've met along the way, I really appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Okay, so let's get back to this before I get all mushy and gushy. Okay, so the eggs are in there. I think I did 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So the next thing we want is a tablespoon of light butter melted. And I'm actually using, I get the Countryside Creamery from Aldi. And that is light butter. So 1 tablespoon of that. Okay, next thing we want is 1/4 of a cup of sugar-free syrup. I'm using the Maple Grove Farms syrup. She actually uses Mrs. Butterworth's sugar-free syrup, which is actually good too. I used to use that before that. So 1/4 cup of syrup. And then 2 tablespoons of 0-point brown sugar. I'm actually using the Lakanto monk fruit sweetener. So 2 tablespoons of that. And then we want 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. Two teaspoons of vanilla extract. And then we want 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I don't know, I think if I were going to play around with this recipe, I would maybe leave the nutmeg out and do something with pumpkin pie spice. I don't know, I may play around with this recipe later. But for now, I'm making it exactly the way she says it. And then about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to whisk that up real good. I think I should have probably beat the eggs first. A lot of times with recipes, I just beat the eggs first and then pour them in. And sometimes it makes it easier to mix it all. But this will be fine. Make sure to scrape your edges so you get all the powdered spices. Okay, and once it is all mixed, then we're going to pour it over the bread. I think this is going to be really good. So this is going to make 6 servings. And in a minute, I will tell you what she says the servings are, or what the points are on it. Okay, so now we're going to put this in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. Like I said, she says 30 minutes, or you can do it like overnight. Now we're going to cover it with aluminum foil and put it in the fridge. And then after that, it's going to bake. We're going to bake it at 375 for 35 to 40 minutes. So I'm going to let this sit in the fridge for ½ an hour, and then I'll take it out. And I want to give you the points on it. So she says for this one, the points are, for the green plan, it's 4 points if you use liquid egg substitute, and 6 points if you use 8 regular eggs. And then blue is 3 points, and purple is 3 points. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing is dinners, and I just have 2 this week. So if you're new to my channel, when I do my dinners, I basically just pre-package everything. I put all the ingredients that I'm going to need into a bag. I label it, I mark it with how many points it is, and I put it in my fridge, and then I pull it out the night that I'm going to make it. So when I prep for my husband and I, even on full weeks, now this week I'm just prepping Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday anyways because of Thanksgiving Thursday. But normally when it's not a holiday week, I still only prep for 3 days for my husband and I. So I do 6 breakfasts, 6 lunches. Sometimes we skip one of those on a day and it might be pushed to Thursday, but I don't like to prep out longer than 4 days. So I definitely don't usually do anything for Friday. For the dinners, sometimes I will do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it just depends. A lot of times Thursday we'll just do a sub, or maybe have tacos or something that I don't pre-package. So just so everybody knows, these are not sitting in the fridge for a whole week at a time. The meal preps that I do for breakfast and lunch are not sitting for 7 days, just for usually 3 or 4 days max. So that is pretty much the basics. It just makes it easier when I get home from work. I can pull it out. Everything's already weighed. Everything's already measured. It's portioned, and I know exactly how much I'll be having of it. So for this week, I'm actually only doing 2 dinners because Wednesday night is the night before Thanksgiving. I do Thanksgiving at my house. I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking on Thursday, so I don't like to cook usually on Wednesday night. So for this week, it's basically, honestly, you guys, it's going to be just like last week for a couple of days. And the reason being is last week I actually prepared this, the sheet pan kielbasa bowls. These are 6 points on all 3 programs. And we ended up having something come up during the week and we didn't eat it. So what I did was took the kielbasa. I have 6 ounces of kielbasa in here. I had taken it out and I put it in the freezer. It's actually still frozen because I don't want it to, I just took it out of the freezer today because since it had been out already, I didn't want it to unthaw too much. So we're actually going to have this tomorrow night since I had everything already ready. So basically I just have all my vegetables in the bag. I have a pepper, squash and zucchini, a red onion, some broccoli, carrots. I have some rice, about a half a cup of rice in a bag in there that I'll make with it, and ranch dressing mix. So I just have everything thrown in the bag so it's all ready to go. And then when I make it, this is just a sheet pan recipe. You just put everything on a sheet and put it in the oven. So as with all the recipes, I will have all the recipes linked down below, all the recipe links, and also the points for all 3 programs will also be listed down in the description box as well. So that's really all I do. So that one is already done because, like I said, we didn't end up using it. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell from there, but the vegetables are still really good. So that's what I always check for, is to see. Sometimes when I know something comes up and I'm going to have to swap out a night, I just look at the ingredients in the bag and see which one. So that's why I chose this one, because I knew the vegetables would hold. I could tell by, you know, how hard the pepper was and things like that. So that's that one. And then on my meal plan, I planned on basil Parmesan salmon. I checked and I don't have basil. So I'm going to be doing the same salmon dinner that I did last week. So you guys already saw this. I'm actually reusing the same bag. But this week I'm going to do squash and zucchini in it. And I don't know, I may do like a lime cream sauce on it, which is basically just sour cream with some lime juice in it. But for now, I'm just going to plan on just sauteing up a squash and zucchini with it. And I'm going to do the 90-second ready rice. That is 3 points for half a cup or 5 points for a cup. Of course, the vegetables are 0. And then I have a pound of salmon. So I use a pound of salmon and put that in the bag. And this one I actually do, for the pound of salmon, I split this into 3. So this actually makes 3 portions. And I usually have an extra portion that I either save for a lunch later in the week or my dogs get to share it. And then for the topping, I'm just going to throw the topping together. The topping on this one is 1/8 of a cup. Oh, my measuring cup is about to break. I use 1/8 of a cup of regular breadcrumbs, and then 1/8 of a cup. These are both regular. I gotta find my panko. Okay, I don't know why, but I have two of them open. You know what? I'm just gonna combine them into one. They're both seasoned. They're different brands, but that's okay. I don't know how that happened. All right, so 1/8 of a cup of seasoned, and then I use 1/8 of a cup of panko. Okay, 1/8 of a cup of panko. And finally, 1/8 of a cup of Parmesan. And then the other things that this will be mixed with is a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of minced garlic. So what I do is I melt the butter, I mix the garlic in with it, and then I mix this in with it also. I won't do that today, but when I make it, I'll just mix all those together, and that will be the topping for the salmon. It's really good. Oh, and half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Forgot about that. I might have forgot about that last week. I don't think I did. And just mix it up, and then, like I said, that'll be the topping for the salmon. So that's it. So we're done with dinners. super quick. So you guys, I'm gonna have some of the upcoming meal preps are gonna be not as long also because I don't even know what I'm gonna be doing next weekend with it being Thanksgiving weekend. I'm not sure what we're doing, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a prep or not. The following weekend, I know I won't be prepping because we are having my grandson's first birthday party here that Sunday. So I definitely will not be prepping for that day. All right, so that's it for those dinners. Okay, so for snacks this week, I've not been having fruit lately because the cantaloupe hasn't been the greatest. I was going to buy bananas this week and I decided not to. So I am going to, what I did is checked in my fridge to see what I have. I want to make sure that I use everything up because of Thanksgiving coming. First of all, I got to make room in my fridge. So I had a bunch of celery in there, so I'm just going to cut up the celery and do my pretzels. So I've already weighed out my pretzels. So if you're new to my channel, I weigh these out. These are 28 grams. So I know it's one portion. It's 3 points for the pretzels. And then I usually use either queso dip from Aldi. It's the Mama Casita salsa con queso dip. That is 1 point for 2 tablespoons. But I've been kind of overeating on that. Even when I portion it out into little containers, I end up wanting more and come and get another container. So I'm sticking to the Laughing Cow cheese lately. I really actually enjoy the Laughing Cow cheese. And let me tell you something. When I was just cleaning up and getting everything out for the snacks, I was gonna actually, I'm kind of getting a little bit hungry and they looked good, so I was gonna have a portion of them. But then I decided, I had the celery here anyway, so I started dipping the celery in a Laughing Cow cheese, and it was so good. So that may be a new snack of mine, is to have celery with Laughing Cow cheese in it. Usually for the holidays, my mother always makes celery with cream cheese in it, so Laughing Cow cheese. And one wedge goes quite a ways. I think I ended up filling like 3 celery sticks, so that may be a new snack for me. So I just put the cheese in there, and I just put them in the fridge. I put the pretzels in the fridge too. They're still fine. And then when I want a snack, I just pull them out. I usually have these for a snack at night, or sometimes if I get home from work and I'm hungry, I'll grab one of them. Okay, so those are done. And then the other snacks that we do is our sugar-free pudding, which I keep those in the fridge. I'll get those out after. And we sometimes do yogurt, which I'm not sure that we'll be doing that this week. So what I'm going to do is cut up the celery. I actually still have some of the skinny ranch dip that I made last week that I got from Jones Pointed Plate. And so I'm going to put those in there. And then I'm going to just peel and cut up some mini cucumbers. I think I'm going to put those maybe in with the lunch. We may end up just having it with a snack, but I'll put them in with our lunches so we can have them for a work snack. So, and then the other thing I'm going to do is measure out. We're going to have a 1/4 cup of syrup with our breakfast. So a 1/4 cup is 0 points of this kind. So I'm also going to weigh that out. It's actually 60 milliliters is a 1/4 cup. So I'm going to weigh that out and chop all these up. Cucumbers in a bag because I'm going to put them in, I'm going to put some salad dressing in there, and the amount of salad dressing I'm going to use isn't even going to be a point worth. I'm just going to put just a little bit of Olive Garden light Italian dressing. Like I said, I don't count this because the little bit I put in there, we really don't even eat as much as I put in there because it ends up, this is just to kind of marinate the cucumbers a little bit. We don't end up eating that much. So that's it for those. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the casserole in the oven. I did talk to Kim at A Girl on Her Phone, and because I wasn't sure, the directions aren't real clear on whether to keep the aluminum foil on or not. And when I saw Kim's video, hers looked so perfect, like a nice golden brown color, and I wanted mine like that. So I messaged her, and she said that she does cook it without the aluminum foil. So I am going to get that out of the fridge and go ahead and put that in the oven now. I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees, and that's going to cook for, it says 35 to 40 minutes. Kim said she did hers, her oven cooks quick, so she said she always checks after 30. So I'm going to check mine after 30 and see how it looks. So I wanted to show you guys the casserole. So I just took it out, and as you can see, it's pretty puffy. I know from watching Kim's video that this is going to kind of relax itself, but I did want to show you how puffy it came out. So I ended up baking this for 35 minutes in my oven. So again, everybody's oven is different, so I would just suggest watch it, you know, check on it at 30 minutes. When I pulled it out at 30, it just seemed a little bit kind of like it wasn't set in the middle. So I'm hoping that extra 5 minutes set it. I don't want to cook it any more than that because I don't want it to get too browned on the bottom. So hopefully this will come out right. Okay, so the salsa chicken is done. And so basically there's a lot of juice. I don't know if you can really see that. There's a lot of juice at the bottom. It does create some juice. What I did is took the chicken out, and the only reason is because I wanted to keep as much of the salsa on there because I don't shred the chicken. There are some recipes where you can shred it or cube it. I'm just keeping the chicken whole. So, and then I'm just going to put a breast on each portion. So I wanted to keep as much as the salsa on there. I think when I made this one other time, I didn't put the salsa on it to cook. I actually put the salsa on afterwards. So that's something you could do too. So now I'm basically just going to scoop a couple scoops. I'm not going to, since I do the blue program, and everything in here is pretty much 0 points. I'm not going to put it on my scale and measure out the whole thing like I usually do with things. I'm just going to spoon it out as much as I can. So I'm just going to go through and add a spoonful at a time to each tray. I guess I should probably do it this way, so I'm not putting it all the way across the table. Probably going to be about maybe 2 or 3 spoonfuls in each one. Yeah, about 2. Now, if you're on the purple program, you definitely could add some brown rice, put this over some brown rice, and it wouldn't increase your points any. Okay, so that part is done. So then, like I said, with these, you just pull this out of there. I'm gonna let it cool down a little bit before I pull it out of there though. And then I'm just going to put a piece of chicken on each one. And some of the salsa already did come off on some of them. That's okay. And then the other thing that goes on this is you just top it with Velveeta. I do an 1/8 of a cup of Velveeta on each one, but I am all out of Velveeta. See, this is what happens when you don't actually do a grocery haul. So I actually have some ultra thin provolone that I can put over each one. I feel like I have it on me. Should have put my apron on. So this is ultra thin provolone. So I will just put a slice over each one. That one feels kind of thick. You have to watch these because it says ultra thin, but some of them are not thin. That one is kind of a little piece, but that's okay. So I should have probably showed it to you before I put that cheese on there, but that's what it looks like. All right, so that's it for that. I'm just gonna let the casserole cool down a little bit and then we will portion that out. You guys, this smells so good. So I wanted to show you, it's not quite cooled down, but I've cut those into 6. I think you can see that. Those are huge portions. So what I'm going to do is then cut each of those portions into 2. So it's kind of like when I do my pancake bakes. You know, with my pancake bakes, I cut those in the same way. So then each one will be 2 points. Actually, I should have probably cut it this way so that each part has an end. Okay, this one's going to be different than that one. So there you go. It's pretty hot, but it's set nice and it smells so good. So I'm just gonna put those into my trays. Yeah, that's really hot. I should have probably let it cool down a little bit more, but that's okay. It's gonna cool in the tray anyway. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Okay, so that's it. That is going to be breakfast. So I have my quarter cup of syrup in there and my breakfast. So I'm going to put everything out and I will show you what we ended up with and what the points are for everything. Okay, so here we go for a short week. Doesn't really look it. All right, my snacks, 2 points for my yogurt, 2 points for my pudding. I have celery and the skinny ranch, which is 1 point for, I think it was 35 grams. I'll put the link down below for the recipe over at Jones Pointed Plate. And then my pretzels and cheese, those are 4-point snacks, 3 points for the pretzels, 1 point for the cheese wedge. The breakfast looks and smells amazing. I can't wait to try it. This is the Pound Dropper Pumpkin Spice French Toast Casserole. The points on this for blue and purple are 3 points. For green is 4 points if you're using the liquid egg substitute and 6 points if you're using regular eggs. And then I have my quarter cup of syrup, sugar-free syrup, which is 0. So that is breakfast. And then lunch is the salsa chicken. This is 2 points for blue, 2 points for purple, and 7 points for green. You can also put avocado on the top. Sometimes I will just add a little bit of avocado on it. Make sure you add points. The recipe that I'm going to have down below is not for avocado. You can also put cilantro in there. My husband doesn't like cilantro, so sometimes I'll leave it out. Sometimes I'll just put a little bit on mine. Or like I said, you can put it over a bed of rice. Just make sure you add the points. If it's purple, if you're on the purple plan, add brown rice and it would be 0. You wouldn't have to add any additional points. And then I have our cucumbers and the Olive Garden light Italian dressing. So I'm counting that as 0 because it's, like I said, it's not enough dressing in there to count as anything. And then dinners this week, sheet pan kielbasa, 6 points on all programs. And then my air fryer, I've kind of reused this bag a few times. Air fryer garlic parmesan, crusted salmon with wild rice, and zucchini and squash. And that is going to be 5 points on blue, 5 points on purple, and 13 points on green. And again, that's because I use 1 pound of salmon. A lot of recipes, they take a pound of salmon and make 4 servings into it. I just make 3, so that's why that's a little bit higher. Okay guys, thanks for sticking with me this long. Again, I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving holiday. If you're new, I hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you're notified anytime I upload new content. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. I'm Christy and I'm planning us healthy.